Ayy, look, yeah, ayy. I'm in the lab like Dexter, brand new batch he tested. I'm with all the extras, don't try and bitch, I'm pressure. I'm the type to step on steppers, I'm the type to step on steppers. I'm the type to step on steppers, I'm the type to step on steppers.
Let's go ahead and talk about this Dallas Cowboys Philadelphia Eagles matchup. This past week, these two teams went at it. The Dallas Cowboys had an opportunity to win this game inside, actually at the 5-yard line, but unfortunately they weren't able to cash in on that opportunity. The Philadelphia Eagles were able to win this game 28-23. And my question to you guys is, what did this game teach you about both teams?
I mean, I think it definitely showed the Dallas Cowboys potential on offense. I mean, after that first drive when they went 3-0, Dak responded perfectly. I think he had one of his best games of his career. When we talk about the regular season, I think he was able to hit CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson consistently. He was plagued by drops. I think his team had about 4 or 5 drops during this day. But other than that, I think he was absolutely flawless. He continued to drive his team up the field. He was finding the soft spots in the zone, and he was making big time throws. And I think, you never want to take more victories from playing a divisional opponent, especially with how important wins are in a division where you're sharing it with the Eagles. But definitely, when you look at how their offense performed, I think it's definitely something that the Cowboys can hold their heads high. I think when we look at it, this offense has potential to do this. When it's pass heavy, Dak on third down was consistently converting. He was making big time throws. Even that last drive, he made. Of course, there was a penalty on the drive, but the entire composure of the team on that drive, I think, was absolutely phenomenal. And they got away with some unlucky plays. The touchdown where he threw it to Luke Schoonmaker, whatever his name is, I think he just stopped just short. Then you had the Dak, 2-point conversion where he stepped out of bounds. And so, little plays like that got away from them. But overall, I think the Cowboys offense looked really good. And it's definitely something that was needed against a team that's considered themselves contenders in the Eagles. And on the flip side, I think the Eagles have kind of quieted everybody's issues with them offensively, especially over these last, 2-3 games. I think offensively they've looked top notch. The passing game, Jalen Hurts has kind of corrected himself after that, slow start and turnover prone start. I think that the Eagles offense is, flying high again. I think they're getting to their spots. The tush push is working to magic again, and this is kind of the Eagles offense that we envisioned, entering this season. We were talking about, what did it look like, but maybe a lot of that was due to the schematic changes when they lost their offensive coordinator and amazing offensive coordinator in Shane Steichen, and the Eagles have adjusted, and this passing offense is red hot right now.
Man, it was, to me, a great game, especially by, Dak and the Cowboys. I feel like Dak came out. He played phenomenally well. A lot, the talk about Dak coming into this game was, can he not turn over the ball? Can he perform against an elite team? Can he perform against a division rival? Can he show up and, hold his weight to the standards? And I feel like Dak came in there, he did that, And to key in on a couple plays, the fourth and, I think it was a 4th and 1 on the 1 yard, or like a 2. It was like a 4th and 2 on the 2-yard line. Past the tight end Shoemaker, and barely he didn't get the touchdown. That was one of the calls right there. I felt like, you got to convert that in the end zone if you're going to be there. 4 downs, that's 4 down territory. I felt like that kind of switched the game. They get the ball back after Eagles punt. They go down. They score. Dak doesn't get the 2-point conversion. And, stepping out of bounds. I feel like that was another crucial play coming down in the fourth quarter where, those 2 points could potentially get, give him a time for game time field goal in the end of the game. And, the Eagles, they come in, they did what they had to do. And the run game wasn't really much, but he still, after he hurt his knee, Jalen Hurts came back and he was just hooping. Third quarter, I feel like that third quarter switched a lot where they had 14 unanswered points. They came in down 17-14 in the half. And that third quarter, Hurts found his 2 boys. He found Devontae Smith and he found A.J. Brown for touchdowns in that quarter. So I feel like, the momentum switches here and there. And that 4th and 1 on that 1 yard line where they couldn't get that touchdown with Shoemaker, where his knee, it was just by millimeters that his knee was outside the end zone. And it happens, and not getting that 2-point conversion as well. I felt like that second half, they, after those 2 touchdowns, that whole fourth quarter was really, really them controlling the game. And it's just, a couple key plays. Michael Gallup catches a couple ball, puts him in better position. It could have been a different game. So I feel like, to me, Dallas played the better game. I feel like Eagles, they played their type of game that they had to, but Dallas lost the game by having their own mistakes. I don't feel like the Eagles beat them at the game. I feel like Dallas came in there, they played the game they wanted to, and they had a couple key mistakes down the drive. I feel like getting into the end zone, they didn't convert the ball as much as they're supposed to, and I feel like, next time they face them, I feel like that's going to be one of the key components for them to beat the Eagles. Once they get into the red zone, I feel like every drive for them has to be a touchdown. It can't be empty possessions.
And that's the thing I want to key in on. I think when it comes to situational football, that's where the Dallas Cowboys lack at. And that's the one thing I took away from this game, from this Dallas Cowboys team. Dak had a phenomenal game from start to finish, like you guys talked about. But in certain situations, he could have been better. Aside from all of the drops from Gallup and all of his other receivers, I just feel like when it comes down to it and you need to put your team in position to get a score and you need to get a touchdown, you need to come away with points, that's where Dak struggles at. And this would have been a perfect opportunity for Dak to silence his haters for a little bit, for maybe a couple of weeks until the next big matchup. But I'm not going to sit here and say it's all on him. But this is what separates, Dak from the rest of the guys that play the quarterback position at an elite level. When it comes to, putting your team in positions to win and capitalizing on opportunities, a lot of the top guys do it at an elite rate. They do it at a high level. But for Dak Prescott, that's one of the issues that people always talk about. Him just, number one, it's just him just showing up in big games. And this was a big game on their schedule, and he showed up from start to finish. But also, capitalizing on big opportunities. When I think of the situations that they were in, the 2-point conversion, the touchdown to Shoemaker that got called back at the goal line. I can confidently say, we can confidently say that guys like Mahomes and Justin Herbert, Patrick and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, those guys are probably going to come away with points guaranteed. And we don't really have to sit here and worry, about that. But when it comes to Dak Prescott, that's something that we have to worry about. And but overall though, even though, moral victories aren't necessarily a good thing coming out of a loss, at the end of the day, the Dallas Cowboys the one thing they can come away with out of this game is just the fact that they can compete with the Philadelphia Eagles. Every divisional game is going to be tough, whether they're going up against the Eagles, whether they're going up against the Giants or the Washington Commanders. It's always going to be a dogfight. But whenever you're going up against a top team in all of football, you want to be able to show some fight. You want to be able to show some heart. And I think Dak Prescott did that in a very, very hostile environment. They just got to clean up on their situational football, because Jalen Hurts, when he needed to put up points, he was able to do that. We see these other top quarterbacks do that each and every week, but Dak Prescott's inability to do that is what's holding him back right now. But, it looks like he's got one thing down. There's one thing off the checklist, just him performing in big games coming out of that, that Sunday night football matchup against the Niners that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where he was terrible from start to finish. He was able to bounce back from that. But now we just kind of need him to tighten up a little bit, put some points on the boards and capitalize off opportunities. Because if he gets that 2-point conversion, they don't necessarily have to go for it on, 4th and long to win the game. They can just go ahead and kick a field goal and then roll the dice in overtime. But, a lot of things that they could have fixed up on, they'll probably fix up on when they see this team again down the road in December. But overall, though, for the Dallas Cowboys, like I said, they can come away out of this game, feeling pretty confident in competing with this Philadelphia Eagles team. For the Philadelphia Eagles, man, these guys have been rolling for those last couple of weeks now. I had my questions about their offense to start off the year. Their defense has kind of been a question mark for me. That's probably the one thing that I've noticed these last couple of weeks, that their defense isn't necessarily as elite as it was last year. They've been giving up a lot of points. They've been getting gashed in the run game. They've been getting gashed in the passing game, and their pass defense is where they're supposed to really make their money at, and their front seven is supposed to do their job with all of the top names that they have on that line. But they just really have to tighten up on defense. But with the way their offense is rolling, the Philadelphia Eagles can confidently go into any game knowing that Jalen Hurts will be able to compete in any shootout, against any quarterback. And coming out of their bye week this upcoming week, they got the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's going to be interesting to see, how they go toe-to-toe with the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Although Patrick Mahomes' offense right now isn't necessarily the greatest, they do have a very, very elite defense. So it's going to be a tough test for the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. But I'm excited to see that matchup, man. It's a Super Bowl rematch between two teams that went at it last year on the biggest stage, and I think it's gonna be some fireworks. Hopefully, coming out of both teams. Both teams are on a bye going into this week, so next week when they see each other, they're going to be well rested and all healthy and ready to go.
I just think, man, those Eagles, the DBs and the safeties.
There's been a lot of injuries for them this season as well.
I just think they're flu, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. Reed Blankenship, Eli Ricks, and these guys were getting cooked. And CD was taking turns on each one of them every time he went into the slot. And I kind of like this new adventure of CD in the slot where they kind of switched it up from the first couple of weeks to the last 3 weeks where he's been playing out the slot. He's been getting, more looks and everything. But to me, these Eagles DBs and safeties, I don't think they're up to par. Badbury, Slay, I feel like they're falling off right now. I feel like that's the part of their team where they can lose games at. And I can see that happening soon.
I think we need to show CeeDee Lamb a little bit more respect. And I ain't talking about me and Big H, man.
Yeah, we know that there's a guy that hates on it for no reason.
I don't hate on CeeDee Lamb. He's a good wide receiver. He's just not in the same class as these guys. Pretty simple. I don't think.
How's he not in the same class? What wide receiver is putting up 191 yards?
Out of those top 5 wide receivers, who's the worst in that group?
It's Diggs, Stephon Diggs, easy.
And is CeeDee Lamb on the same level as Stephon Diggs?
Yeah, I think so. He is. Why not?
No,
yeah, I think they're on the same level.
Stephon Diggs, what he's proven over the last 2 years, comfortably better than CeeDee Lamb. Comfortably better.
CD not
the thing is though, that's the thing.
He's not proving he's a one though. He's on.
And you're gonna say, I know you're gonna say he could be the worst in that group. No, that's just not how.
What's wrong with being the worst?
You have to be on the same level as these guys. Like literally last year, right? Last year we were talking about AJ Brown. He's arguably the worst in this group because it was his breakout year with the Eagles. Now all of a sudden we're having discussions whether AJ Brown is wide receiver 2 in the entire NFL. Like, do you see how fast it's changed?
Didn't CD have his breakout year last year?
Yeah, but I don't think he was as in terms of like his profile. With
a backup quarterback, with the backup quarterback for 6 games.
But then you gotta understand, AJ Brown is sharing targets with Devontae Smith. Like,
what's worse though, sharing targets with another solid receiver or having a second string quarterback for 6 weeks?
I think for a guy like AJ Brown,
there's no really second string receiver, so a lot of the looks are coming to him. A lot of the double teams are coming to him. The defense are focusing on him more.
I think it's worse for a guy like AJ Brown. It kind of tempers his overall yardage, especially for a guy like it's like the same thing as like Jamar Chase if he's sharing the field with a T Higgins. Like Jamar Chase, if he wasn't sharing the field with T Higgins, his numbers would obviously go up because that's just how
we've seen Jamar get almost 1,700 yards with T Higgins on the field though.
Yeah, but Jamar Chase, 1,700 yards. It's kind of crazy. But
what was his first year?
His rookie year was like 14. He broke JJ's record. I think last year
he was hurt.
Well, what is he?
He was injured last year.
Yes, he was hurt.
What is he? He's in year 3 now?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay,
yeah, year 3. But like for a profile like it's AJ Brown, like him sharing targets with. Like you see when he's relentlessly targeted these last 6 games. I mean, 125 straight in six. Like I just don't see CeeDee Lamb on the same class as a guy like that.
But the thing is though, like when AJ complained, right? Ever since that week he complained, he'd been getting force fed or he'd been getting more targets. Yes or no?
Yeah, simple as that. Like you target your best player.
A couple weeks ago, when I think it was against the Niners, right? Was it against the Niners?
Coming out of that Niners game.
Coming out of that Niners game, CD was the same. He complained. And these next 3 weeks. He's been getting fed just like AJ Brown. He's been putting numbers up.
Yeah, but he hasn't been doing it on the same level as AJ Brown, though.
I'm just saying.
No, he has 191 yards.
And then what was his last
for 6 straight games?
11 catches, 147 for 2 tugs.
Like you're not gonna sit here and tell me that CeeDee Lamb's in the same class as a Tyreek Hill, as a Justin Jefferson, as an AJ Brown. Devontae Adams. We could put him aside because the situation going on over there has been just downright terrible.
Yeah, I can't because Devontae right now, quarterback situation, coach situation, everything. I feel like Devontae's skill set, talent-wise, he's still one of the best. But
he's probably going to be the guy that gets the odd man out at top 5 just because of the season he's going to end up having. But overall, I just don't see CeeDee Lamb in the same class as these guys. If he ends up the season on a very, very strong note, then we can have a discussion. I don't mind.
I just think having a solid wide receiver 2 is a lot better than going into the first 6 weeks of the season with a backup quarterback. If CD had another guy alongside him on the opposite side of the field, I can only imagine what his numbers would look like. Because when you think about it,
do you think, for example, let's say Tyreek Hill, does his yardage change if Jalen Waddle's there? No, it doesn't, right? Does
I don't
Justin
think
Jefferson?
so.
Do you think Justin Jefferson's yardage changed? You guys haven't even had a real wide receiver 2 before this year with Jordan Addison. Since 2020. Same thing with Justin Jefferson.
That is true. That is true. But it doesn't hurt though. Because
Same thing with Devontae Adams in Green Bay. Like, I feel like a wide receiver 1 just being the focus. Like, yes, there is parts of it where there's a focus the defense shifts towards you. But at the same time, you got Cooper Kupp, same exact thing. They didn't have a real wide receiver 2 until Odell Beckham really showed up after week 8. So it's the same situation. I just think as a wide receiver 1, regardless if you have a wide receiver 2 across you, I think if you have a wide receiver 2, it kind of tampers your offensive stats because that guy is also a good wide receiver. Yes, it may help, lessen the idea of the defense shifting their focus towards you, but at the same time, you're so dominant as a wide receiver 1 that it just doesn't matter.
Right now he's sitting at 824 yards in 8 games. You telling me right now, like, he ain't on pace to break 1,400 again?
If he gets 1,600 yards, I don't mind, man. 1,500, 1,600.
He's on pace for that right now.
We have to see him finish out the season.
Him and Diggs
I just
want to
know what
yards,
wide
right?
receiver 2
Him and Diggs had the
put
same
up.
amount of yards, and Diggs played an extra game.
Yeah, but he hasn't finished out the season though.
I'm just saying, but we're looking at pace. We know CD, he's gonna finish.
Come on, bro. Like Tyreek Hill was on pace for 2,300 yards.
Oh yeah, I know. But
I mean, he's still on pace for that.
Is he? I think he is.
I think after, I don't know after this last Sunday though.
I mean, he probably got bumped down to like 19, but he's probably still on pace for that if he just continues. He needs a couple of big weeks, but the thing is though, the wide receivers you're grouping CD with, I don't think they're capable of having a stretch of games like CD's having.
Well, yes,
right now.
Yes, they are. What?
Scary Terry's not capable of doing that. The one guy you compared him to.
Ones? Or are you just talking?
No, not the wide receiver ones. The wide receivers you're grouping him with.
Yes.
You're grouping CD with. You're grouping him with like Scary Terry and who else are you grouping him with? You're grouping him with guys like
anything from wide receiver 6 to 10 position. That's what I'm grouping him with. Like anything after wide receiver 6.
Keenan Allen's in there.
Keenan Allen's been having a monster season.
Yeah, you gonna group him with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin?
Shit, Mike Evans was having a strong season.
Get out of here, bro.
That's just ridiculous, man. Like it's okay for him to be a wide receiver 1, but he could be the worst one out of the group. It's a lot of good ones.
Unless you want to throw CD in his own class, then I just don't see him.
CD receiver 1, bro. He right there with Diggs, bro.
No, but the thing is, you're not understanding. You can be a wide receiver 1, but that doesn't necessarily make you like an elite wide receiver 1. If you get what I'm saying, like for example, Mike Evans is a wide receiver 1 in the Bucs. That doesn't necessarily say that Mike Evans is a wide receiver 1.
But CD is a wide receiver 1 though.
Aside
from his role being a wide receiver 1.
Team receiver, he's a receiver 1.
It doesn't make him an elite wide receiver 1.
He's an elite wide receiver 1.
Is he in that group with those guys?
I honestly believe 100% he
100%. He's probably the worst one in that group.
I really believe he's in that group with them.
I don't believe so. I just can't.
100%.
It doesn't hurt being the last guy on the list.
No, it really hurts. It really hurts.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all, bro.
Because
the guys you're in that group with are legit stupid elite.
Because you remember last year, right, when we were having a discussion about top 5 wide receivers, every single one of those guys, they had an argument at being number 1. Did they not? Maybe outside of Stephon Diggs, right? Each guy had qualities that you could say maybe they were wide receiver 1. Especially the top 3 guys. You looked at Devontae Adams' skill set. You look at Justin Jefferson's skill set, Tyreek Hill's skill set, Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase. Every single one of those guys, they had an argument of being wide. They could be wide receiver 1. You're not gonna sit here and tell me CeeDee Lamb can have an argument at that. It's just not happening. Now, if CeeDee Lamb finishes out the season, right? Finish out the season strong, yes, we can have a discussion. But I just don't see it right now.
My brother got 8 games. I think he got 9 games left, brother, man. He had 830 yards right now.
Let's see how he finishes out the season.
We touching 1,500 yards and 10 plus touchdowns, and then it's gonna be he has to do it again next year. And it's like, why does he have to do it again? He just proves to you back to back.
No, if it does it this year, he could be wider. He could be in that class.
I guess only time will tell with CeeDee Lamb, man. Even coming off a 191-yard week and a touchdown. But did he score this past week? I think he did.
No touchdown this week.
No touchdown. 191 yards is still an amazing day. But we'll just have to revisit this conversation.
Record a new hit, then we making us a film. Wouldn't sign a deal if I got a couple mil. Been in the lab, now they throwing out deals. Me and now Lakes, now that's overkill.